What up, y'all? So, this your boy, man. Little Chanel, man. This is probably the first time y'all ever seen me on camera, right? So what we gonna talk about here is building a brand. Me personally, I have been in this industry, I would say at least going on eight years, right? And if I was building a brand now, all of the things that I know, what would I do and how would I start it? All right, so number one, you got to think of a unique name, right? And the name is kind of going to be your why. Why are you doing it? Or like your why and your who are you affecting? Your audience, who do you want to talk to, speak to, reach, right? That's your why. When you figure that part out, your why or your who, then you could kind of go like, search it up on social media, Google it, see if somebody got it. If somebody got it, then you could probably uniquely spell it differently and come up with a little twist to make yours make a little bit more sense and make it purposeful. That's number one of starting a brand. Number two, you're gonna have to decide like what type of fabrics, material, t-shirts that you want to use. I'm just making it based off of you starting a t-shirt brand, but this could be, you could do mugs, you could do novelties, jewelry, whatever you want, right? But the premise is based on having the conceptuality of what you want. So for example, my particular brand is like, I turned depression into art. And not just depression, but just things that affect us in the urban community. But I ain't want to do them like corny t-shirts that just like say I'm depressed with anxiety. That's cool, but that wasn't my route. And I ain't disrespecting people that's doing that. Cause I mean, some of these craft ladies is killing it doing that. But I wanted to give streetwear a more creative edge and talk about like, you know, black love, black suffering, heartbreaks, depression, you know what I'm saying? Those type of things in the community, drug use, but I just do it through like comic book style, graphic tees, hoodies, trucker caps, you know what I'm saying, etc. Now, it's a couple of ways that you could start. So we're going to just start this in a slow fashion. If you're a graphic designer or somebody that is familiar with like Photoshop, Affinity, GIMP, things like that, you can create your own designs. If you're not, you're going to have to use a service like Upwork, Fiverr, Instagram. All right. Now, if it's two routes you could take, and the route that I took was the backwards route. Somehow I found a manufacturer 8 years ago. We still in contact. This was way before people was really talking about silhouette cameos. Don't get me wrong, it was Big Brando, but I ain't found out about Big Brando until later. So I did like a cut and sew, and I kind of didn't understand fabrics. I mean, but you know, like in the beginning, you're not gonna know what's the difference between scuba, lycra, spandex, polyester, cotton twill, memory fabric. We could talk about so many different types of fabric, stitching, etc. You're not going to know all of that in the beginning. So for me, if I'm looking at my younger self, when I started out my brand with what I had done, all right, so I'm going to move y'all over to my equipment, and I'm going to tell you ways you could start. All right, I got a lot of equipment over here, right? I never really listened to the dudes on YouTube telling me what type of stuff that I needed to buy, because I'm a stubborn person. I learned through my trials. So me personally, I wanted to buy what I wanted to buy. And through my trials, Fancy Your Studio, these like $200 Amazon press. This ain't even $200. You can get both of these for like $200. That's starting your clothing brand right there. Because this right here is going to give you an 8x11, which is the basic graphic size that's on most t-shirts. Now some t-shirts are printed bigger where they like 12 by 12, but the average t-shirt size is going to be, the average graphic is going to be the size of a piece of paper. That's real shit. And this is a hat press, but the hat press is multifaceted because so you can press your neck labels in, which makes your clothing fully branded. We're gonna get into it. I'm gonna backtrack and talk about all that. And this is like what will help you to be fully branded. You feel me? All right, now this is another hat press, and this is an industrial size heat press. But I also got another, like, before I get way off track, like a 15 by 15 over here. I think I paid like $150 for it. All right, so I got all different types of equipment that I could talk about, but I'm going to tell you the simplest way of getting yourself into the game. All right, is a heat press and maybe a vinyl cutter. Very simple. Learn how to use a vinyl cutter. There's 1,000 videos on YouTube University. All right, so let's recap what we talked about. Number one, you need to find your brand name. Define your identity, like who you're trying to talk to, who you're trying to speak to. What is your purpose of doing this brand? Once you figure out all of those things, the next thing for you to do would obviously be to start. And like I said, if you're not good with graphics, you should find yourself a graphic designer, Fiverr, Upwork. It's all types of services like that. It's going to be mad dudes on Instagram that you can find. You can just look up the hashtag graphic designer, and they're going to come up. As soon as you follow one, all of them are going to follow you. And when graphic designers and manufacturers are coupled together, but in the beginning, you don't need all of that. You could get yourself like 12 t-shirts. Most people start out with Gildan. My recommendation is All Style, Pro Club, depending on what type of t-shirt that you like. Next Level 3600 is a very good shirt. I'm getting into too much at one time. I'm a little overzealous, but I'm gonna try to keep it focused. As I said, gotta find out what you want to call your brand. And something that I left out, you're going to need a logo. A logo is like your identifier. You like Nike, the check. I'm looking at my Apple phone right now that I'm recording on. The Apple is an identifier. You need a symbol of hope, like Batman, you feel me? Superman. Everyone has like a symbol that identifies who they are. Myself personally, my identifying symbol, I'm gonna show y'all in a second. So my identifier is this this skull logo holding up the world. So it's pretty much like pitch black world. So pitch it, my personally, so I'm gonna break down what my brand means. Pitch is like the way I talk, my voice, my speech. Black is like my audience. That's catering to African Americans, Latinos, Asians, any person of color that could relate to like urban culture and the things that we go through, struggles and depression and things like that. I'm not saying that Caucasians cannot relate to what I'm talking about. They definitely can, but I would think that this is more my audience that I'm speaking to, that they understand what I'm going through a little bit more because we from the same demographics. World is where we live, like our city, our country, the metaverse, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, those places. You feel me? So again, you have to have an identifier. That's what makes you who you are. And when people figure out who you are, then they kind of want to understand your story. And you kind of got to like give it to them in a way that's simplistic, but it seems very authentic. So this is what we're going to do here. We're going to talk about building a brand, and we're going to go through all of the phases that we could go through, yeah, word.